sorry there, Frankie. Yeah, it's amazing as well that even getting to the grid in an online racing and iRacing situation can be quite a challenge with electronics, but it's great to see like Byron Mitchell and many others around here at Killarney as well joining us and traveling the country and possibly the world as well. But we'll be handing over now to Frankie Hennis and Gary Fleming over here. The eye in the sky, the great controller, and he will be taking us along with Frankie through the Thermo Fires Clubman Saloons race.
Right, here we go as the cars begin to work their way up onto the grid, and I was on air this morning with Ernest Page and with Dexter Bruce, and watching them from the floor below the commentary box while they were busy out there qualifying. And Imad Modak did the quickest time. He was on pole position with Cody Albert's second pole, followed by Jess Huggett and Shane Smith. And also working her way through the qualifying field this morning was Greenfield Motors and best price for my car, Kiara van Niekerk, who, by the way, had a birthday in the week. So big happy birthday to Kiara. And JP Share, a little bit further down, he sits there in P10 as the cars roll through. Then a welcome back to Mr. Spur himself, Gavin Surf, in the 17 Golf, and he sits there in that sixth position on the grid as we wait for all the cars to work their way through into their respective grid positions.
Well, Frankie, the better part of almost 30 cars out there for the Thermo Fires Clubman Saloons race number 1. Who's got slicks? Who's got semis? Who's got wets? To the best of my knowledge, Jess Huggett does have a set of wet weather tires on there. I think Cody Alberts, that's 1 point adrift of Jess at the top end of the log. I do believe that they borrowed some slicks. Sorry, should I say wet weather tires? So he hasn't had any time to really get out there on those tires and see exactly what they can do. So I think it's going to be very much tiptoe down into turn number 1. But then again, you always have a guy that's had a bit of practice, he's got the wet weathers on, he's confident, and he wants to make up a whole heap of ground right at the beginning.
So waiting for the cars to come through. I see that Charles Opperman is out there as well. He sits there on the outside of Gary Smith. Waiting for a few more cars to come to the grid. We're waiting for the pole sitter to come through. He's working his way down the center of the Thermo Fires Clubman's regional saloon cars, and that should be the 47 NSI Racing BMW of Imad Modak. Should be Imad out there. It says a Modak on the car, but it should be Imad Modak, not Nias. Is Imad Modak, yes, the 4-7, that is in pole position for NSI Racing. So the Renault Triber, the safety car, leads them off the line for 8 laps of Thermo Fires Clubman Saloon Car Racing.
Interesting to see that we've got a couple of the big hitters. That's a long way down. For instance, Marco Retta down in 17th position, the man from Progress Precision Engineering. I see Kosi Swanepoel down with a 21 car down in 22nd position, so that's a long way down. Tischendorf also, Rusty Harris also in the Class X, he's down in 18th position, and he's out there with the VW Golf Mark 1. So the Maruka and Lee Fielding in the E36 BMW coming off the back end of the pack. And there's our favorite block of flats, Frankie, working his way through turn number 1.
Oh, that's the Chrysler 300. Yeah, that is Andre van der Merwe. Now, that's just an office block. It's not a block of flats, that's just a plain office block working its way around. And he's there with John De Silva that sits there on his outside as they work their way through Castrol Corner.
Yep, I think it's going to be mixed fortunes. If you look, the skies have opened up a bit. There's a fair amount of blue. And, well, the damage is already done in terms of do you need wet weather tires. The problem now is if you are out there on wet weather tires, and it starts getting dry towards the end, you're going to eat those tires up pretty quickly.
Indeed, as we watch this group of cars work its way through Interceptor corner and through the double right-hander that is Sadel van der Merwe sweep, or just known as Sadel sweep, heading down the back main. We'll see them come into view now as on the monitor that Renault Triber is now taking them through the double right-hander that is Sadel sweep, also known as Malmesbury sweep, but we've got a big Sadel van der Merwe board there. And I think any racing driver that works his way through that corner and looks up and sees the face of Sadel van der Merwe should just get that extra inspiration to want to go a lot more quicker and a lot more faster around any racetrack, because if that doesn't give you inspiration, then nothing will, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's actually fantastic that you have the legend of South African motorsport. I mean, who is bigger than Sadel van der Merwe? Probably only Jody Scheckter. And that's decades back.
Yeah, that's back in 1979, Formula One world champion. And I think from a South African point of view, Willie Hepburn, I think, will also step up and be pretty close to that plate, together with people like Larry Walford. However, as they work their way slowly down the back straight, the safety car, the Renault Triber, will be working its way out. I think Dr. Full, as I like to call him now, no more the Dolphin, although in this weather he could be a Dolphin. Full Herald is the safety car driver that will lead them out of Fostron corner, and he will peel off to his right, or in this case he's going to the left. Whatever I say, Full does the opposite.
That's the first attack of commentators' curse, and they haven't even come across the line.
Right, heading towards the City of Cape Town Bridge, Wingfield Motors and Castrol. We are about to go green for race 1. Thermofires, Saloon Cars, Clubmans. Here we go.
Well, from what we can see, it looks like about the front 6 cars are definitely all on wet weather tires. Well, who's going to get the best grip going down to turn number 1? It's anybody's game as they work their way down towards turn number 1. Will everybody get in and out of 1? We're about to find out.
Through turn 1 they go now. I'm looking at the monitor and out the window all at the same time. Everybody's going to just tiptoe out of the only left-hander. That is turn 1, out of holes, and make it out of holes pretty safely indeed. And diving through there is Imad Modak. Modak has got the lead. Looks like there's a spinner. Yes, there's a car pirouetting on the inside of the exit of turn number 1 out of holes. However, through the kink now, racing towards Interceptor. It is Imad Modak with Cody Alberts, Jesse Huggett. That's the top 3 that is working the way out of Interceptor. Then Shane Smith is in that 4th position, and they're trying to break away there from the rest of the field that's been led there by Josef Hendricks.
Well, so far so good for just about everybody out there. Oh, a couple of sideways coming out of the corner, out of Interceptor corner. But our leaders already starting to work their way down the back main. And this will be the first time that they're going to do 200 plus on wet tar, going down into 5.
Down into turn 5 they go into a Fostron corner. That back straight isn't exactly straight. It has got a bit of a curve onto it as they work their way out of a Fostron corner. That's Imad Modak. They leads there from Cody Albert, second from Jesse Huggett. Then it's Shane Smith. Then it's Josef Hendricks. Behind him is Gavin Serve. Then it is Gary Smith. And Gary Smith has been challenged here. And he gets overtaken by Daniel Kutsia as they race down into turn number 1.
Yep, everybody made it through pretty safely. I must say it's actually quite impressive that everybody has managed to do this. So down towards turn number 2, the new Castrol signage up there on that corner. Jesse Huggett holding on to that 3rd. Remember, there's just 1 point between Jesse Huggett at the front end of Class A and Cody Alberts gets it all sideways. He looks in the mirror, he sees Jesse Huggett, and he knows he's got to get the hammer down.
And as we watch this group of cars work their way through Interceptor corner, I saw that go. We've got a trouble. Oh, that is Kwesi Swanepoel. There's 2 cars that's pulled off there. Swanepoel is one of them. That's a 21 car. And I saw somebody just go to the right, that little escape road. I'm not sure. I just picked up the tail end of that car, but it definitely looks like it's a 21 Subaru of Swanepoel. We've got another spinner here in turn 2. There's 2 cars off in turn 2. One of them I can tell you is the Golf of John De Silva, and the other one is a Jetta that has rejoined and De Silva rejoins now as well. So down the back straight they race, but the leader is heading towards the start-finish line, and that is Imad Modak with Cody Albert in that second position. Then it's a bit of a gap before we see Shane Smith. Right there with Shane Smith is Daniel Kutsia, Joseph Hendricks, Jess Huggett, then Mr. Spur himself, Gavin Surf coming through, Gary Smith crossing the line, and then it is Charles Opperman. Mike went dead there for a moment as they work their way through turn one. We've lost all telemetry up here in the commentary box, so if you folks at home can hear us, we'll continue with the commentating, but the telemetry's gone dead. Out of Castle Corner, Jess Huggett, he's busy working his way through. Jess gets his nose ahead of Joseph Hendricks as they work their way through the kink and race down towards Interceptor Corner. So Huggett's got his nose ahead of Hendricks. Behind them is Gavin Surf, followed there by Gary Smith and Charles Opperman. Kiara van Niekerk is in there. That's a two-lady races, Kiara van Niekerk, and behind her the BMW is Mia Bench as they exit turn number 3, Interceptor Corner. But down the back main, looks like our telemetry is coming back again, folks. So for you at home, you would have lost everything. I don't know if you can hear us, but the folks around the track will still be able to hear us as Imad Modak comes across the line to start another lap. Looks like we are back again. So the leader is working his way out of turn 1, out of holes, and then Cody Albert will be working his way into holes. Right, folks, we welcome you back again. I'm sure you were stressing about losing us. Here comes Shane Smith. Behind him is Dargan Kutsia working out of 1. Then we've got Jess Huggett, and behind Jesse Huggett is Joseph Hendricks. So that's a group of cars that's working its way out of turn 1, out of Holzoek, up the Joubert Straight towards turn 2 Castrol, and through Castrol Corner they go now. Gary, that is Daniel Kutsia, there is Jess Huggett, and just behind him you saw Joseph Hendricks.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting the way this one's played itself out, because Imad Modak is not only the fastest man out there, he leads them out very, very handsomely. Imad Modak on his way down the back main, and he leads out from Cody Alberts. He's got the fastest lap. There's still 5 laps to go as the leader works his way down towards turn number 5.
Right towards turn 5, that is a Pertamina Fostron Corner as they work their way out of 5. Where is the man that sits in P1? There he comes out of 5. I'm looking at the monitor there. That's De Silva that's crossing the line. Here he comes across the line now with 4 more laps to go in a 126.404 for Imad Modak. Then Shane Smith coming towards us now, followed there by Daniel Kutsia. A couple of back markers behind the two of them. Then Jess Huggett, and behind him is Joseph Hendricks. The two of them working their way out of 5, out of Fostron Corner. Here comes Huggett. Across the line, followed there by Hendricks. And then a bit of a gap before we see Gavin Surf and Gary Smith heading down into turn number 1. However, working their way now towards a turn 3 Interceptor. That is your leading car. That is Imad Modak. He's got a back marker ahead of him in a Jetta 5. And there he goes through your shot. And then we've got a couple more cars coming through there now. And there is Cody Albert. That's a man that sits in that second position, followed there by Shane Smith. And behind Shane Smith, we have got Daniel Kutsia going through your shot there. And then we've got a back marker. Then Jess Huggett, right in his case, is a Joseph Hendricks. That's the two of them that's working through the double right-hander. That is Cyril Sweet.
Down in the back lane they go. I see the slower car moving across to the side of the circuit, trying to stay completely out of the way as the frequent flyers in the Thermo Fires Clubman's race number 1 for the day. Jesse Huggett going one-on-one down towards turn number 5.
Trouble in turn 2. Gary, one of the cars just spun there, but he recovered the circuit again on the exit of 2. He seems to be okay with 3 laps to go, including the one that we are on. We have a look at the cars. That's Kiara van Niekerk who just went through your shot there. The leaders are working their way around. There's 2 lady racers out there, as a matter of fact. One is Kiara Fanikak in the Golf. The other one in the BMW is Mia Bench. So 2 lady racers out here in the Thermo Fires, the Clubman's regional saloon cars. As you watch the cars work their way down the back straight. And I'm trying to pick up with the leader, which is watching the monitor now. So I'll have to look and see exactly where the leading car is. Down the back straight he goes. Down the back main goes the NSI Motorsport car of Imad Modak. There's a blue flags waving. That's back markers there, so you must be careful. The back markers must just hold their line, and he'll work his way through as Modak makes his way out of Fostron corner. We'll pick him up down that long straight. Here he comes under the City of Cape Town Bridge. Your leader right up against the wall. And he is Imad Modak, the man that sits out there in P1. Ogan Gasper is pretty far down. Here comes Cody Alberts towards us. And right on his case is Shane Smith. As they head into turn number 1. Smith sits there on the outside of Alberts as they work their way into Holzoek. And it is Cody Alberts that holds the line coming out of Holzoek, and entering Holzoek now is Daniel Kutsia. So the fight is still on, Gary, with approaching 1.5 laps to go.
Well, if you take it that Class A battle is for honours between Cody Alberts and Jesse Huggett. And, well, at this stage of the fight, it is all about Cody Alberts that's got the upper hand in terms of points in this race number 1 for Thermo Fires Clubman's.
Yeah, they come out of interceptor corner. They are side by side, I should have said nose to tail, with 2 cars ahead of them. That is the Chrysler of Van der Merwe. And then behind Van der Merwe, you see Alberts and Smith. Okay, well, there's a car off. I cannot see it. The television's hidden behind the other one. So there's a car that is off there in turn number 4. Can't set out the window neither. So down the back straight they go. Approaching the leaders going into turn number 1, as a matter of fact. So he's started his penultimate lap as these 2 come out of turn number 5, and that position just changed around out of Fostron corner, and now Smith has got his nose ahead of Alberts as the 2 of them work their way into turn 1 into Holzoek. And then we see Daniel Kutsia coming towards us, and now he also working his way into turn number 1, and behind him, believe it or not, a lap down is Ogan Casper. Right, Jess Huggett working his way now into turn number 1 as they are now starting their final lap. 122.080 is Imad Modak. He's the quickest guy out there. And the rest of the field just busy working their way through. There comes Gary Smith across the line. Gavin Surf working his way, but the leader's going down the back straight. Down the back main for the final time, and he's heading towards Fostron corner, turn number 5 is Imad Modak. He might put a lap there on Paul Minnick, that gold color Golf. It's like a rusty gold color Golf, but Minnick will give him a bit of a fight, but it matters not, because Imad Modak will bring it home in first position. Modak will win this one. Now, who will it be? Will it be Smith or will it be Alberts for that 2nd and 3rd position? They're coming towards the start-finish line now. There's back markers in their way, but it's going to be Shane Smith that comes home just ahead there of Cody Alberts. Kiara Fanikak finishes her race, and then Daniel Kutsia will be the next man towards the checkered flag. You're waiting for Hendricks and Huggett. They should be having a little fight out there, and Yusuf Hendricks will get to the line ahead there of Jesse Huggett. That's the first 6 cars across the line. Gary Smith, there he comes. Gary Smith coming out of turn 5 out of Fostron corner right now in the 68 BMW, working his way towards the City of Cape Town Castro Minfo Motors Bridge is Gary Smith. And then Gavin Surf there, the Spur Golf crosses the line. Welcome back there to Gavin Surf, Mr. Spur and ex-chairman Western Province Motor Club, as the rest of the field just cross the line. Sharp Opperman will finish his race, and lady racer Mia Bench as well, as the rest of the cars just filter through. So that was the Thermo Fires Clubman's saloon cars. Race number 1, Class A, was won by Nias. No, well, he got classified as Class F out here, but in any case, he won that race. Sure as hell he's in Class F, that's for sure. And then we see Smith. Class B was won by Yusuf Hendricks. Trying to pick up, it's difficult to see with the background there. The first Class X car across the line was Gavin Surf, because he hasn't raced in a long time, so that's a new driver car combination. And then it was Gary Smith that won Class C, and Hintenhouse, that's at 76 BMW in P20, he won Class D. So that is the Thermo Fires Clubman Saloon Cars Race 1 under the belt.
So for the folks at home, some of the replays that was picked up by the IMUSAT crew. A big thanks to the whole IMUSAT crew. Clocked in 7 o'clock this morning. Get everything sorted out for us. We had a bit of a problem with the cameras earlier on, but with the rain and the wind, to be expected, I suppose. It does affect comms towards the early hours of the morning when it was raining very, very heavily. But they've got it all sorted out there. You see a lovely shot on the exit of turn number 4, the double right-hander, the BMW going off. And that was the exit of turn number 1, right at the beginning. Lap number 1, turn number 1 on the exit. Everybody made it through, barring one. So there was actually quite a good turn of speed that the whole pack had on a rather wet surface.
What happening is this weekend? Hello, sweet Caroline. Talk to my head. I'm going to sit next to him on the aeroplane next Saturday. Now we'll be going up in the morning and coming back.